YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Today, guys, this is our finished product with the Sword Soul and the Tenyis. Well, mostly with the Tenyis because, the newer supports are with the Tenyis. Now, a couple of things that I've actually updated with this deck. So from time to time, every end of the game, I actually tweak the deck, or in some cases, I need to tweak the deck because, for instance, I did not need 3 copies of Adhara in some of my games. Second of all, having a copy of Infinity was so useful if ever you're going second. Targeting one monster in the field to pop was just useful in a sense if you're going second. And of course, it adds one of the 2 cards from your deck to your hand, which is the Vessel or the Heavenly Dragon Circle. So I tend to have this card in my deck. What else? So removal of a copy of Hadara was quite kind of significant because in most of my games I tend to draw 2 copies of this, and I just need 1 copy in some cases where I have a copy of Ashuna in the graveyard and I needed to banish to summon another Tenyi body from the deck to the field. So that was just a revelation of mine. Just having 2 copies was just enough. Second of all, a copy of Nibiru and copies of Lancia was quite necessary in the format that we're in. Now, this might change for a time. Maybe after a few weeks or so, if ever Maliss is not going to be very prominent in most of your games. So far, Nibiru and Lancia was quite significant in winning me most of my games. 1 copy of Vessel, 1 copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Just of course, since your opponent loves to play during your turn, so having a copy of Talents is one of the best cards so far in breaking some boards. 1 copy also for Ecclesia, and a copy of, or 1 copy of Taya was quite enough. 2 copies of the Shathana, because Shathana is another level 4 that you can summon to the field, which is pretty useful as sense. Because if you don't have a copy of any other Sword Soul monsters that are level 4, you can just have a copy of Shathana and then a copy of Saruya on the field to gain you access to a Link monster. And then having the Shathana in the graveyard for a trigger effect if ever you summon a copy of Monk of the Tenyi on the field. So that is your main deck. For your X deck, 2 copies of Baxia. That additional pop was kind of good. The 2 copies of Shishao was good. 1 copy of Muladhara, like I said earlier, was useful. 1 copy of Xiao Feng. And lastly, I think that's basically it. Oh yeah, you might be wondering why I have a copy of Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. There were some instances where I dealt with a copy of Avramax and a copy of Chaos Angel in most of my games. So having a copy of Underworld Goddess was useful afterwards. But it's up to you if you want to have this card stay in your extra deck. You can choose to remove this though and add a 3rd copy of Monk of the Tenyi. It's really up to you. Or if you want, you can add another Worm monster, for instance. Or better yet, if you want a vanilla monster on the field that is, or a non-effect monster in the field that is useful for the Tenyis, you will, or you can have a copy of Berserker of the Tenyi, which is a pretty good 3k attack body on the field. So it's really up to you if you want to use this though. But so far, I'm pretty sure you can just change this from a time because I just use this during my games because I've experienced a lot of people just using some Avramax and Chaos Angels. For some reason, it's not mostly Maliss for a time, but once I use Maliss, it always becomes Maliss in most of my games. So let's just settle with this one, right? I mean, having a 3rd copy of Monk won't be that relevant anyway. So yeah, copy of Berserker would be quite nice. So let's save that one. So that is your main deck, guys. Let's move on to the games that I've been playing against Maliss and some other decks. Alright, so let's go. Alright, so here we are with the games. And yes, I am gonna narrate here for our games. Alright, so our opponent is going first, and we have a pretty good starting hand with 1 Ash, a copy of Muyi, a copy of Struya, a Long Yuan, and a copy of Ashuna. So let's go first. Let's go start this game. Our opponent is going first. Going for a copy of Smigert on the field, going for a copy of Clockwork Knight, getting a copy of the Inclusion from the Smigert. Inclusion activate. I think he's gonna get the other card, or the level 5. Reash that one. Our guy's gonna go for Cold Bite here. So I could have gone with the later effect. The Inclusion was premature, but you know, never mind, because he just got called by with that. So you got a copy of Soul Fifthneer here. Use the effect of Soul Fifthneer, dumping one to the graveyard, summoning to the field, popping itself. Use the effect. Spell summon another monster in the field. Spell summoning a copy of Tristaris. Banishing a copy of Thisvert, adding one more card, which is a copy of Sulfador. Sulfador on the field, popping the inclusion. Use the effect of Sulfador, dumping a copy of Thisvert. Thisvert and a copy of the trap card here, so that's pretty nice to have. And then with the level 5 and the level 2, you go into a copy of Eleskeletus. Eleskeletus gaining back a copy of a trap card from the graveyard. And with this, use the effect of Tristaris, popping the Synchro Monster, Spell summoning 2 bodies, a Citri, and a copy of Soul Fifthneer. Spell summoning a copy of Tristaris from the Banish spell with the use of the inclusion. And with that, spell summoning back a copy of the Nova to the Infinity. So this is a pretty good board to have. So one trap card from the Crystron, a Citri, a copy of Tristaris, and a copy of Infinity, which is an Omni-Negate. It's not too bad to have, but let's try to break this one. So during our turn, I think we draw into a copy of Triple Tactics Talent, which is primarily what we need. So we go for a copy of Ashuna here. Spell summon. Our guy has Maxi to top it all off. So it's not doing great for us. Nevertheless, we'll try to break this. There's no point of, you know, like stopping here. So our guy's gonna go for Secret Spell, summoning the Soul Fifthneer here, going for a copy of Dawn Dragster on the field. So Ashuna on the field, we go into a copy of Monk of the Tenyi, and then Monk of the Ashuna spell summon a copy of the Vishuddha to the field, and shall summon the second copy of Monk here, so that we can have the Vishuddha in the graveyard. Use the effect, banish or target a copy of Infinity. Our guy is always going to use the effect for the negate, which is primarily what we need. And now he has only a copy of Dragster in the field. Now I wanted to have the Triple Tactics activate here because I want to end this game at this point. So I need to remove the negate from the Dragster and the pop from the back row. So with this, we go for a copy of Muyin. Oh, by the way, the deck profile is in the comment section if you're interested. Forgot to mention this in the deck profile. So once you summon the token to the field, you are going to be locked into Synchro Monsters. So you cannot spell summon the Link Monster from your extra deck if you are locked into Synchro Monsters only. So that's one downside for the Sword Soul. I almost forgot about that. But yes, anyways, revealing Tsuruya, our guy is going to go for Impermanence to top it all off with a pop and the negates. So what I can do here is going for a copy of Shaman of the Tenyi and going for a copy of Tsuruya. Our guy, I really thought that he's going to pop the Shaman of the Tenyi here. Instead, he went for Tsuruya for some reason. So popping the Tsuruya, which I can just revive with a copy of Shaman. Luckily, he doesn't have like a Veiler or whatever. So with this, summon a copy of Muladhara, and now everything goes to place. Muladhara gain a copy of the field spell, draw from the Muyi, and then Tsuruya now can gain us access to the Link Monster, which is the level 4, or the Link 4, I mean. So draw into a copy of Ecclesia, which is pretty nice. Getting a copy of Infinity from the Muladhara. Muladhara gain us one more copy just to force the Dragster from activating, and now we can use the effect of Sharara. Target the one monster in the field, which is the highest attack. I think it's the original attack it's going to be copying. Sorry. So with that, the Dragster has finished its negation. So we go for a copy of Triple Tactics Talent, controlling one more monster. Now at this point, I don't know what he will summon here to the field, but I wasn't too surprised. It was actually just an Axel Synchron, which is not too bad. Control a copy of Infinity here, and we're good to go with our OTK. So the reason why I just wanted one copy of a non-effect monster, because this opens up the effect. So cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Your opponent can target this card with card effects. And lastly, my favorite, you can make a second attack during the battle phase, which is pretty good. So with this, we can end the game right here. So destroy that, attack one more monster there, and that solidifies the end of the game. So that is our game number 1. Let's move on to game number 2. Okay, so here we are with game number 2, and we're going up against Maliss of all decks. So yeah, not really the best choice if we're going second with Sword Soul and Tenyi. But to tell you honestly, Sword Soul can also break some boards if you know how to play it. So this is against Maliss, and luckily we got a copy of Lancia. Like one of the reasons why we have Lancia in our main deck. So we started off with 2 copies of Muyi, 1 Shathana, and a copy of Saruya. Always pretty good to see this card. And a copy of Lancia. So our opponent is going first, summoning a copy of Cat. Once I saw this, I just dumped a copy of Lancia. So our guy is going to go for a copy of Mark with Hair in the field. Banishing 1 card. First spell summon. Then our guy is going to go for TB11, spell summoning 1 Maliss monster from your deck. Or from their deck. So summoning a copy of Dormouse here. So there we go. And then Lancia resolves. The 2 monsters were able to be banished, so it is a free summon to the field. So there we go. Copy of Cat and a copy of White Rabbit. White Rabbit gaining a copy of GWC. And then linking off into a link decoder here. Then with the 3 bodies, go into a copy of White Binder. And link decoder summoning to the field. With White Binder, getting a copy of the trap card, and then lastly going to a copy of Dark Fluid, which is pretty insane to have, dumping a copy of his Deceive Worm to the field for a spell and trap card negation. So we have, I think, a trap card that can add 1 Maliss card from their deck to their hand. They can add 1, I think the one that can trigger on the hand and then banish 1 card from the graveyard. I think that's the best choice for him. And then secondly, he got a copy of GWC, which spell summons 1 Maliss monster from the banisher in the graveyard. So typically the good target for this is Maliss White Binder. But anyways, that is pretty good. A pretty good board, nevertheless. So we'll try to break this. So during our turn, got a copy of Ash Blossom. Hurrah! Summoning a copy of Shathana to the field, and then spell summoning a copy of Saruya. Our guys are going to go for a copy of White Binder from the GWC. White Binder banish 3 cards. So banish 3 monsters on his side. Summoning a copy of Hair, a copy of White Rabbit, and lastly a copy of Cat on the field. Now, this would be pretty good if he had more bodies, but luckily I have the Lancia to stop him from ever banishing more cards. Nevertheless, it was kind of insane though. And then he's going to go for a copy of MTP7, adding 1 more Maliss card from the deck to the hand. Now, he could have just waited for me to get a copy of the 3rd monster, but, you know, that's still pretty insane to have on his side. With the 2 bodies, I can go for a copy of Muladhara, and then with the Saruya spell summoning a body to the field. Our guy is going to use the effect, dumping a copy of Aggregator from his extra deck. But we got a copy of the Shararara. And with the Infinity added to our hand, we are good to go. Our guy just used the effect of Aggregator on our copy of Rara, which we just used the effect to copy a monster's attack on the field, which of course we just needed the token for the effect of Mula Adhara as a closer. And lastly, we go for a copy of Infinity just to trigger the effect of the Deceive Worm. So there we go. Deceive Worm activate, negating the Infinity. Doesn't really matter though. We go for a copy of Mui here, revealing 1 worm, then going for a copy of Grandmaster Shishao. Going for a copy of Shishao, gaining a copy of 1 more. I think I got Emergence here. Yeah, I got Emergence because I wanted to get the most formidable card in my deck, Protoss. So with this hits the field, I just called Dark, and that's basically the end of the game. See, Protoss is one of the things that you really need to have in your deck if ever you're going first or you're going second. Really good board breaker and really good card to have as a finisher. So that is game number 2. Let's move on with game number 3. Alright, so here we are with game number 3, guys. And we are starting our hand with 2 Muyis, 1 Ashuna, and a copy of Flawless Perfection plus an Ash Blossom, which is pretty nice because majority of the time Maxi is going to be really a problem for this deck, and also a copy of Mulcharming, but more on the side of Maxi. Nevertheless, we are starting off with a copy of Flawless here. Our guy's going to go for a copy of Maxi, which is no right. Luckily, we have a copy of Ash Blossom. Then we go for a copy of Ashuna. I really wanted the Saruya here. So I tried my best to get a copy of Saruya, if ever. So we're going to a copy of Ashuna, getting a copy of Monk of the Tenyi, and what do you know? Our guy has a copy of Bestial Magnavolt to summon to the field. Now take note, this effect of the Flawless states that if you control a non-effect monster in the field, and your guy summons or spell summons a monster in the field, I can draw 2 cards, which is what we really want to do. So okay, so we draw 2 cards from the Flawless. Don't really care about the Magnavolt, to be honest. And then we draw into a copy of Saruya. So luckily we have that one. So spell summon a copy of Saruya and then normal summon a copy of Muyi. The reason why I'm not activating the effect of Muyi, because like I said earlier, once you summon the token, you're locked into Synchro monsters, and I wanted to get the Link monster on the board. So with this, since we already got the field spell open, I think there's no point of going for Mula Adhara, and then we're setting up the board, so a copy of Shishao is our best choice. So we go into a copy of Shishao here, Muyi for the draw, and lastly, Saruya for an extra body from the extra deck. There we go. So summoning the Rara to the field, drawing 1 card, we draw into another Ash Blossom, going for an emergence, getting a token to the field, and going for a copy of Shaman of the Tenyi. Shaman, dumping 1, spell summoning the Muyi to the field. Muyi reveal 1 Sword Soul, and now we are locked into Synchro monsters. So with this, going a copy of Mula Adhara, gaining a copy of Infinity for a follow-up next turn. And that's our board. Now I could have gone into a copy of Protoss here, but I just wanted to have this board with a copy of Blackout, since Blackout is a useful card anyways. So we go for that. Our guy's gonna spell summon a Baldrake to the field, which is alright, and getting a copy of Drew's Worm from the Magnavolt during opponent's turn. And who knows, we got a copy of Maliss again. Luckily the Blackout is there. So we pop our Mula Adhara. We can just summon this to the field anyways in the next turn. Use the effect of Rara, getting a copy of the token to the field, which is primarily opens up a lot of things here. So the new Tenyis are pretty good because once you summon the Rara to the field plus a copy of the Flawless Perfection, so all non-effect monsters on the field are unaffected by monster effects. Second of all, Tenyi Spirit Rara here states, while you control a non-effect monster, monsters your opponent controls cannot target effect monsters for attacks. Also, your opponent cannot target effect monsters on the field with card effects. So it works both ways. It synergizes quite well with non-effect and effect monsters. So there we go. It's gonna banish the Mula Adhara, which is kind of sad, but we can just retrieve it with another copy of Ashuna, regardless. So he summons another body to the field. We tried to draw, but he got an Ash Blossom, so that's alright, I guess. Lizardos on the field. Tried to banish 1 card. I don't know what he's trying to banish here. Nevertheless, yeah, like I said, unaffected by monster effects. So I don't know what he's doing here. So that's our game number 3. Not too bad, to be honest. Yeah, that is game number 3. We have still room for game number 4 here. So let's go. Anyways, last game for sure. So we start off with a copy of Muyi, a copy of Saruya, 2 Lancias, of course. Why not? And a copy of Emergence, which is what we need. So we're going up against a burn strategy. I didn't know about this at first, but yeah, it's a burn strategy. So we normally summon our Muyi, not using the effects. We'll summon the Saruya here so that we can gain access to a Link monster. So get a copy of Shishao, draw from the Muyi and the Saruya effects while summoning a Link body. Now, I would go into a copy of Rara, but instead, I would prefer going into a copy of Shaman of the Tenyi because I have a Sword Soul card on my hand. So there we go. Use the effect of Shaman, dumping 1 Lancia. Spell summoning the Muyi to the field, revealing 1 Sword Soul card. There we go. And then spell summoning a copy of, a copy of Mula Adhara here. Getting a copy of the field spell activated. I think I got a copy of Heavenly Dragon Circle. There we go. Going for a copy of Emergence. Getting a copy of Long Yuan. I wanted to get a non-effect monster in the field. Summoning Long Yuan plus a token would be pretty nice. Banishing a copy of Ashuna. Spell summoning another copy of the Tenyi Master, which is also a tuner, by the way. So go for a copy of Sinister Long Yuan. Now take note, this isn't the best card up against Maliss, but in some other decks, it is quite useful. I'm just taking a shot here if ever I'm not going into any Maliss deck. So why not, right? So there we go. Go for a copy of Heavenly Dragon Circle, removing our last token, spell summoning, or getting a copy of Protoss, banishing 3, and then we got a copy of Protoss. So just in case our guy is using Maliss, at least we have Protoss here as a floodgate, or so that he can spell summon any dark monsters. So, and then getting a copy of Blackout on the back row, that's still pretty nice. Oh yeah, using the effect of the Infinity to gain access to the Flawless on the end of my turn. Alright. So during our opponent's turn, he has Kaiju. On 2025, we got Kaijus, boys and girls. So 2 Kaijus. I don't know why he's... Oh my god. Alright, it's a burn strategy, I know. So there we go. He's gonna pop my Shaman of Tenyi, go for main phase 2, set 2 cards, or 3 cards I mean. Use the effect of Blackout, targeting my copy of Protoss. And for anyone who want to be refreshed, Protoss can't be destroyed by card effects. So I just targeted that, plus 2 back rows, and then we are free with 1 more for removal. So there we go. Oh yeah, I used the effect of Shishao here to gain access to a copy of Mullah Adhara's last 3 effects, which is kind of good. So that's one of the reasons why I got the non-effect token on the field, or non-effect monster on the field. And I don't need to use the effect of Latia. Hooray! So during my turn, all I need is just to put them all in face-up attack position and banish a copy of the Heavenly, get a copy of the Vishuddha, remove that back row, and then we go for an attack. Removing the 2 Kaijus on the field, go for the 2 attacks, and the closer. Alright, so that is our game number 4 and our last game. What are your thoughts on the new Tenyis? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Like I said, deck list will be in the comment section. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.